What is going on, DeFi Degens? Welcome to the DeFi Degen podcast number 11 and issue number 11 as well. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. We're here with ID Crypto Ian.
What is going on, guys? Happy to be back. Hope everyone had a great Christmas.
Absolutely. The New Year's coming up. Ian's not in New York City right now. He's back in the hometown. We had a fun weekend.
Pretty fun weekend.
So. Yeah, pretty fun weekend. We tried to pull it together for this newsletter, and I think we did a good job. I guess we'll find out here. But anyways, let's jump right into it. Let's take a look at the markets. The market's looking pretty good. How do you feel about it?
Yeah. Polka dot at 32.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to see that.
Dude, layer ones are popping off, bro. Layer ones are popping off. I actually want to show you something.
Imagine if we just invested in every single layer one.
I mean,
we'd be perfect right now.
I know. It's nuts. Well, check this out. I wanted to show you this. So this is basically Ethereum is obviously, so a year ago, Ethereum's total market share was 97%. And now it is 63%.
Wow.
So the market share is getting shared without the project. Nuts. But that's beside the point. Anything else you want to point out about the market today? Looking pretty good, to be honest, all around.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. Can we check out time?
Yeah, so you got a big position in time, and you held through it, man. You held through it big time.
Gosh, it dropped a lot.
Yeah, it's the only one down today. Shit. That's no good. But that's no good. I don't know how to comfort you on that. But if we zoom out on time, man, this just might be I don't know how. That's not a very strong bounce, bro. I'm just saying. That is not a very strong bounce unless you find support here.
You got to think about the staking piece of it too.
Right. Sure. Yeah, 100%. Well, we'll see what Daniel has up his sleeve for sure. It's only at a 800 million market cap, 850 million. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to Time and Olympus DAO. But anyways, is doing better than Gyro for sure.
Oh yeah.
What Gyro is doing.
We're gonna check out.
This is Olympus DAO fork that I'm still holding. And I bought at like 1400. I bought like 10K at 1400 over here. And then I wrote it. I'm riding it all the way to zero, boys. Let's go. But it wasn't a rug. It wasn't a rug. So that's a plus.
That's right.
All right, let's get into this newsletter. So today, crypto news recap, Jack versus crypto VCs. We got a couple Degen farms, Nacho, and then introduction to music NFTs. And let's jump into it. So first off, the New Year's is coming out. I started a collection. We can actually take a look at it. NFT collection, Dingooo Community 2022 resolutions. I went ahead and minted. So basically, you join the Discord. You join the Dingooo Discord and go ahead and go down there to 2022 goals and just put your goals there, and then I'll mint them, and then we'll have a collection of all our resolutions, and we hold each other accountable. And then a year from now, we'll look back and see if we accomplished any of those goals. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was cool. Ian, you got 2 years, bro.
I should, but it's a cool idea because you get to see other people's goals. Like, these are really cool goals, and they kind of inspire me a little bit. He's got travel on there. He's got financial goals on there.
Yeah, 100%. Plus, it's always going to be on the blockchain, so you can't do anything once they're minted.
Yeah.
So there you go. But anyways, let's move on from that. So if you want to participate, go participate. It's kind of just for fun and to help hold each other accountable. Open DAO, if you don't know what happened to Open DAO, a lot of money was handed out. It was an airdrop, but so there was a top 0.1% of OpenSea users. Most of these individuals have traded probably north of 100,000 ETH on OpenSeas, and they all received 6 figures worth of SOS token or more. Right? I saw a lot of videos, 100 to 500,000, but also I think a lot of them were like kind of scammy too. But did you see any of that?
I didn't. I've seen a couple people on Twitter say that they got 6 figures. But
Yeah,
I've also seen people say they got $10 worth.
right. And they were down here. They might have traded one time on OpenSeas or whatever. But yeah, I mean that was nice to see. I once again just participate in decentralized applications. You'll eventually get an airdrop. I mean, it's nuts what happens. It's random. I mean, have you received the Uniswap airdrop, and what other ones have you received?
And ENS and Apollo, which is on Terra.
Yep.
What was interesting about OpenDAO is that they're not affiliated with OpenSea. So that kind of created this new dynamic where the token doesn't even have to be airdropped by the protocol itself. I think OpenSea is going public. And that was actually like the community was pretty mad about that. So
Right.
yeah, definitely just the airdrop strategy is the best way that I know of for beginners to get started. You get to learn more about the protocols and honestly, like
100%.
airdrops can make up a large percentage of your portfolio.
Yeah,
Well,
100%. 100%. And like I've said many times before, your wallet puts you in a demographic, and if protocols and applications want to target a demographic based off your digital wallet historical transactions, they can do that very easily. And that's kind of what OpenDAO did. They targeted OpenSea users and just like that, or the Constitution DAO, like we talked about before, they could target those people, or NFT holders. I mean, there's a lot of demographics you can put digital wallets into and airdrop, or do whatever you want to them to try to onboard those users. So keep that in mind moving forward. Vitalik's spontaneous visit to Argentina. A lot of South American countries are going through inflation. I don't know exactly if Argentina is. I bet you we can look that up. Argentina inflation or decreased rate.
oh my gosh.
Decreased by 50.
Wow.
Inflation rate compared to previous years. So only a cool 50%. That's low inflation. Don't worry about it, boys. We're good.
Not
So
too bad.
actually, inflation went down this year, which is good. Yay. By
That's
13%.
crazy.
It's only 42%. So imagine in 2 years losing 95% of the buying value of your money.
I mean, supermarkets probably have to hire someone just to change the prices all the time.
Well, Venezuela, they had whiteboards, and every couple hours they would change it. Like my ice cream.
I'd bring my own marker to the store and just change all the prices.
Right, for my ice cream stand, I was thinking about that. Like, what would happen if halfway through the season, or I have to change the price, or I mean, it's just like that's what's going to happen, man. If there's more than 20% inflation, you'll probably have to change the price a couple times a year.
I'd say we're halfway there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if the Fed can keep the inflation rate under wraps, but only time will tell. And let's move on to. Oh, we're still on this one. Okay, Ethereum's continuity. How do you pronounce this word?
Continuity.
Oh shit. Yo, English is tough, man. English is tough. Speech is tough. I'm just sending it. But anyways, although Vitalik, so he thinks Ethereum can survive on its own. He's been saying that for years, even though I think it's more true now than ever. Obviously, I think it could survive Vitalik disappearing, which is good, but I guarantee it would go down 20-30% probably.
Yeah, I mean, it would lose a great mind, but I definitely agree that it could continue.
Bounce back. I do too. So will Ethereum fail? I want to read this quote. If ETH fails to scale, then ETH definitely failed. If ETH succeeds at scaling, but it turns into something that's centralized, then it's also failed. If ETH succeeds at scaling and decentralized, but nothing interesting gets built on top of it, it also fails. So that's kind of a nice quote that I 100% agree with, that Vitalik was talking about in the discussion in Argentina. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean that That kind of encapsulates why it's so difficult. It maybe would be easy for any single one of those things to happen, but for it to be scalable, decentralized, and for there to be actual like real world decentralized applications that are useful and interesting, that's really the difficult part, and might explain why they're moving a little bit slow so that they can actually put all of those things into place
Right.
effectively. So that just shows you what he's focused on. He's focused on the core mission that they've set out from the
Yes, sir.
beginning, which is good to see.
Yeah, 100%. And decentralization is something that has to be constantly, or centralization is something that has to constantly be battled against, because like proof of stake even proof of work will slowly trend towards centralization. So
Yeah.
it's something that you always have to account for, and fight against if you really wanted to hold over the long term. And then he talks about DAOs. He says DAOs are finally ready to happen, which I agree. Obviously, they had the DAO exploit back in the day. I think that was 2015 or 2016, almost destroyed Ethereum, or early 2017. I forget when, but it almost destroyed Ethereum. And then they bounced back, obviously. And DAOs are finally ready. Technology and tokenomics have reached a certain level where they can be successful. Any thoughts on DAOs, Ian?
Yeah, I think it also draws into question the centralization versus decentralization with DAOs, because I think especially in the beginning, you need a certain amount of centralization to push forward the DAO until it gets to a place where everyone in the DAO kind of knows their role, knows their mission. Like I've actually been in newly made DAOs where they try to have a flat structure from the beginning and no leadership, and it just doesn't work. Right? There's reasons why there's hierarchies and leaders to show everyone the vision. So I think with DAOs, like the best way, and this is how Bitcoin was started, for example, centralized until it gets to a place where it can be decentralized. So
Right.
I think that's a common misconception with DAOs, but I just thought that was
That's a good point. That is definitely a good point. I mean, let's see what happens with that. Michael Jordan in his prime, he is clearly at peak performance. I mean, look at him.
with the picture above.
Yo, he's like, what am I doing? Everybody, he's got his mind on something else.
He's like,
Everybody's
I should
looking
be
straight at
coding
the
right
camera.
now.
He's looking at some probably, I think probably at a girl, Argentina girl, a Latina. You know what I'm saying? But that's honestly the biggest risk for Ethereum is Vitalik finding a girlfriend. So, all right. So Jack versus crypto VCs. Ian, take this sucker away.
Yeah. So if anybody is on crypto Twitter, or even not crypto Twitter, because Jack Dorsey has a lot of followers, you have seen a little bit of drama. And Jack Dorsey recently stepped down as CEO of Twitter. He started, posting on Twitter a lot, like the rest of us. Kind of seemed like he was freed up a little bit. And he had this discourse on Twitter talking about VC involvement, which a lot of people have been talking about. So it was a hot topic. And we can just read through these tweets. So if you go up to the first one, you don't own Web3. The VCs and their LPs do. It will never escape their incentives. It's ultimately a centralized entity with a different label. Know what you're getting into. So, Josh, I don't know what you think about that tweet. I have my thoughts a little bit below.
I agree with him.
Okay. And then this next one, a picture, obviously just showing all the value going to the Silicon Valley VCs while the retail gets droplets, basically nothing. And then you have Elon Musk, who says, has anyone seen Web3? I can't find it. And he says it's somewhere between A and Z. He's talking about A16Z, which is probably the most well-known, most involved, most invested crypto VC in the space. And so it sparked a lot of debate. Mark Andreessen, the founder of A16Z, blocked Jack. So a lot of crazy things happening. But I just want to give my own thoughts on this because I see where Jack's going, but I don't agree completely with his comment. He says that basically VC own Web3. And it's just not like, it's not actually true, right? Like they don't actually own the platform. They just own tokens in the project. And there are a lot of problems with the way it's structured, but they don't actually own it.
I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
So for something like, say, a governance proposal, okay, and these VCs pretty much controls where these protocols go because they can obviously sway the governance proposal vote. What would you say to that?
Yeah, they can definitely influence the direction of the protocol, but they can't like wind down the protocol. They can't, it's still permissionless, right? Like anyone can still use the protocol. Whereas in traditional companies that they own, they could shut it down if they want. They
They
can
can ban
sell it.
users, they can blacklist
And
wallets or whatever, right?
exactly. Exactly. But to your point, that's still a huge problem. That's why I believe that's why I agree with Jack's sentiment. Like VCs have way too much influence on the direction of the protocols. And there's this big problem of VCs using retail as exit liquidity. I mean, they're getting in at the seed stage. They're basically guaranteed to make money in their investments. They can invest in whatever, whether they believe in it or not, and make money.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the
It's
real
honestly
problem is
disgusting.
the regulation.
What's that?
The real problem, as you know, is the regulation.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. The right accredited investor regulation is dumb as hell. I mean, with inflation, we should overcome that here shortly. So it's funny because they put in regulations
That's a
based
good
off
point.
dollar values, like $200,000 a year income or whether it makes you a credit investor. And then also now you have to report $600 transactions to the IRS or to that degree. I forgot the exact wording, but $600. That's gonna be a freaking cheeseburger here shortly. No, every time I buy a cheeseburger, I gotta report that transaction to the IRS. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I would hate to. The thing that makes crypto so special is everybody can be kind of a VC, kind of a VC. Like you can get into projects. No, well now, I mean, we got into Aragon jurisdiction token at $600,000 or like $500,000 or $600,000 valuation, right?
Yeah.
But now it's kind of hard to get into a project less than 10 mil just because there's so much money and so many people are out altcoin looking. I mean, so it's less of a VC now than it was, and I'm sure that we'll revisit a time where it's kind of more VC, I guess. All right,
Yeah,
let's
totally.
see.
I mean, that's the biggest proof that a system like that would work, though, because it's worked so well in crypto. People have had so much freedom and been able to make a ton of wealth for themselves. So I think that proves the fact that, it's a better system to just have it be open to non-accredited investors as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So any good reads here or did
Yeah. I
uh
don't think this is updated, but it will be updated in the
once it's sent out?
newsletter. Once it's sent out. If you update it. Oh, never mind. It's a test email.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, those reads will be updated. They're actually some good
Some good reads.
There's going to be a fashion week in the metaverse,
Sheesh.
which will be interesting.
Dude, you know who's been talking about the metaverse a lot? Joe Rogan and his guests. Like the last two podcasts.
Oh yeah, I saw the Tim Dillon one.
Tim Dillon and his most recent one. I mean, they talked about the metaverse like the whole podcast. It was nuts. But anyways, moving on to Nacho Finance. So Nacho, it is mine. What's the joke with Nacho? Nacho, never mind. I don't know.
Nacho cheese.
Well, it is my finance. But anyways, let's check out Nacho. This is I just put $1,000 in there last night. It's at okay. Do what you want. I'm just saying, Tomb Finance has been doing well, right? Tomb Finance doing well. Nacho, basically, Nacho is 1,000 Nacho. It's pegged to Ethereum. So 1,000 Nachos equals 1 Ethereum. That's what it's pegged to. Obviously, I have never had success with a rebasing token. I've never, ever, not one. I have never had success with. I've lost a lot of money on rebasing tokens. And this one, I don't think I have enough in there to make it up, but maybe. But maybe. But yeah, so it's a fork of Tomb, which is on Phantom, and Tomb has done really well in the past. And it's currently at, I believe, 1,800% APR, which is around 2,000, 2,200% APY or something to that degree. And yeah, so I just earned that overnight while I was sleeping with $1,000. It's early. Do what you want. Obviously, there's risks. This is on Polygon. Do what you want.
Okay.
That's all I got. That's all I got to say about that. And we'll see what happens. Any thoughts on that, Ian?
That's really cool. And I was just gonna ask what chain it's on. So Polygon is super low fees. I might actually
Check it out.
look into that. Might throw something in there.
Well, we can check out the price action of nacho cheese real quick. Nacho finance. It's not even ranked. I don't know what the market cap is. The market market cap is actually kind of large. Well, fully diluted. So what's the circulating? So I don't know what the total supply. So I don't know what the I don't know what the market cap is. I would have to look into it more. But it looks, I mean, it had some price discovery at the beginning, like rebasing tokens do. But I think it's settled into a little thing right here. We'll see what happens to it. Hopefully it holds 1,000. So this should be at 1,000. This should be at like $4.20 or something to that degree. But it's at $5.20. So it's going to be rebasing down. I don't know what that means, but we'll see. I think it has something to do with end shares and its backing. But we'll see what happens with that.
Same.
And then another thing, another Degen thing. It's not really too Degen. It's only 500%. But no, this is actually, yeah, this is Alpha Finance on Avalanche, which is pretty cool. And it's a derivative market. We can just zoom in on the picture. So basically, you can add liquidity to these pools. These are basically put options and call options. So if you keep scrolling down, you'll see some call options down here on the website, on the application. But I only took a screenshot of the liquidity pools for the put options, basically. So let's see here. Where's the price action? Okay, so minus 50, minus 55, 60. So these are the prices of AVAX. So these are very low risk basically right now because AVAX is probably not going down there in that price here shortly. So, and those are 163, 135, 132. So obviously this one is in the money. So it's 503% right now. And I don't know exactly the risks associated with it. I don't see a time limit on there. So I really have to look more into this and how the premiums are. The derivative markets in crypto are just starting off and they're freaking getting weird already. Like not traditional derivative markets whatsoever. They're just pools and I don't know what's happening. Do you have any thoughts on the derivative market in DeFi?
Well, I was thinking it might be interesting to look into a black swan strategy where basically, it's pretty unlikely that these will happen, right? But if you have enough capital, you could just keep paying these premiums so that if eventually there was a crash where, that these all dipped below these levels, you could make a ton of money. There's funds in the traditional markets that are solely do this. And there was one that made, an insane amount of money with the pandemic when it crashed. So I wonder if there's a strategy there because, crypto generally has pretty long way to drop.
Yeah. Well, I was in a derivative class in college my spring semester of 2021 when the pandemic happened. And that was my favorite professor in college. He worked in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for a while, and he was a He was a consultation consultant. That's the word I was looking for. But anyways, he brought on one of his former students, which he dealt with interest rate derivatives, and he made a lot of money for his bank because he bought derivatives on, and he basically placed a bet on the decrease of interest rates. And that's what happened when the pandemic happened, was the Fed lowered interest rates. I don't know whether they lowered interest rates or they kept the interest rates low. So he made the bet that the interest rates would stay low or continue to get lowered. And he won. That derivative paid off big time for the bank, and he had him on and he talked about the experience or whatever. But he was a big shot or something. I don't know.
That's really cool.
But anyways, let's move on to some music NFTs.
Yeah, that'll be updated as well.
The picture.
Yeah. And there'll be some articles below to take a look at. Yeah, just to learn a little bit more. But I'm sure everyone's heard of music NFTs, but it's one of those things that we haven't really seen a lot of. It's mostly been art NFTs, right? And I just want to make the point that there are so many other use cases for NFTs, including, being able to get into events and things like that we really haven't even other IP such as textbooks, all of these other things. But I think for me, music NFTs make sense to really take off because music is such an important thing in people's lives. Like, people love songs. They hold a, dear piece of people's hearts, and to be able to own your own music. So this is an example of an NFT. This is, I think, imagine owning Tiesto's or something like that.
Yeah. That's cool. So you were a fan of owning your own music back in the iTunes day, or kind of owning your own music, right? Like purchasing the album.
You don't even really own it because, Apple can take it away whenever, but right. Yeah. And it's also good to look at like traditional markets to see what works. And a huge flex in traditional markets is like owning an album. Like Martin Shkreli, he bought the Wu-Tang album just so he was the one that owned it. And so that's why I think it'll be a similar thing, like a status, right? Just like art NFTs.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just tough for me. It's tough for me to wrap my head around this stuff because I'm not really in that loop. It's not my core competency, man. Like music and NFTs. Like, I don't know what I never really enjoyed owning a record, or I don't know what unless I'm getting some type of royalty, or I don't know. But
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I don't even really understand like traditional art, like I'm not a guy that would want a painting, but I think it's more so like a status thing. Just like people want to let you know that they own something cool.
Right. And is it cool? It's subjective. Yeah, totally. All right, so mutant apes are popping off. Good thing I sold mine right before it popped off. It's okay. But mutant apes are at 11 ETH floor, bro. And we'll see what happens with the apes. Apes are popping off hard right now. I think their floor is higher than CryptoPunks, if I remember correctly. I think CryptoPunks.
Yeah, they flipped CryptoPunks, didn't they?
Yep. But that's okay. Well,
you still made a profit.
Oh yeah, but it is what it is. I didn't like my ape. I wanted to buy a different one, but then it was a long story. I just sold it and then I didn't get back into it. So I did not like how illiquid they are. I definitely feel like they can drop like rocks, but at the same time they could become the premier club of the world.
Yeah. There's really no in between.
They could drop like a rock if they lose popularity, or they could literally be the premier club. Yeah, like I said, get you in. It could be the VIP pass for the freaking world. Like, oh, you got a Bored Ape? You're in. Come on, get a private.
I wonder if you'll get anything if it becomes like super big, just to even say that you owned them at one point.
That's trash. No, I'm not. I would never say that. I owned it when I sold it. I paper hand them. It's like I said. It's like saying I bought Bitcoin in 2012, but I don't have it anymore. But anyways, last but not least, Dingooo Asset Management. Check it out. Well, this is just for fun, PSA, but I do a lot of consultations, and one reoccurring theme I hear is, dude, this is too much work. I don't want to do this junk. It's too much. They all pretty much imply that they would just take this money and do yield farming for me, basically. So I set up a little system, DHarma. You can buy straight from your bank account to USDC on the Polygon network, and then DHedge is literally a asset management application on Polygon where you can use DeFi applications to earn yield. Right now, we're up 1.22%. I was in a stablecoin pool, but then I changed it up to the balancer pool, and we'll see what happens. It's only my money in there right now, but we'll see if you want to keep your eyes on it. I mean, it should be cool. We're earning, this is like a 30% APY approximately pool on pretty good assets. So we'll see. And I think this might be the best way to have your family, if the family say, take my money or something. I know a lot of crypto people say, hey, take my money or whatever, right? You could do your own, or maybe find one that you enjoy and onboard like this. So this is the easiest way. Have your family connect their bank account. And also they have a $100 free Ethereum for referrals for you and the person signing up. So you get $100 free. Boom, boom, boom. Sign them up. Buy on Polygon. Make your own hedge fund or whatever you want to do. And then have them invest in that. And then you can manage their money through a interface and have them have an interface as well to see what their portfolio is looking like. What do you think about that idea?
It's really cool. Have you tried the Dharma yet? Have you tried it out?
The Dharma? So actually I have not tried it out yet but my brother-in-law reached out to me yesterday and was like, hey, I want to buy crypto. And I told him to download this app. And this week we're meeting up, and he's going to put some in the Dingooo Asset Management, and we'll see what happens. I personally hate managing my family's money, but I feel like this is the easiest way. Hey, literally put it into this account. Here's the risks. I'm not really going to do much. I might have different allocations in different yield pools. Like maybe I'll do a wrapped Bitcoin, a wrapped ETH pool. Maybe I'll do like this one I'm in right now is a little more altcoin with Wrapmatic, and it has ETH and Balancer in there as well. So it's a little more altcoin volatility associated with it. And I might have some more conservative, maybe some stablecoin pools earning 10%, something to that great degree, and have a diversified Dingooo Asset Management fund. And if you want to keep up, we have a channel now in the Discord. But yeah, what do you think about that, dude? Do you think that could be successful?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's great. I think just tell them, invest for the long term, and I mean they're bound to make money if you invest in fundamental projects for 5 years.
Easy. Earning 30%, we'll take it. We'll take it. But anyways, that is all for today. Anything left to say, Ian?
No, I think that covers it. I hope everyone has a good New Year's Eve. We'll have another newsletter right at the start of the new year, so we'll be able to go over the New Year's resolutions and get the year started off right. And it's been a good 2021 so far for the newsletter.
2022, bro. To 2022. 2022 is going to be literally a fantastic year. I have a feeling in my bones. And
I feel good about 2022.
100%, dude. It's going to be the year. I don't. Climax is the wrong word, but like a turning point or momentum changer.
Momentum building year.
A momentum building year. It's a make it or break it type of year. It's a make it or break it type of year. But anyways, and hopefully we don't have any kids in 2022. Because we were talking about it the other night. Man. We were talking about it the other night. But anyways, go ahead.
I was gonna say your sister predicted you to have kids.
My sister predicted I have kids. I don't even have a girlfriend and whatever. But anyways, y'all have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed. Until next week, peace out.
Peace out.